So now, we talked about, in the last video, we talked about the high-end or the prestigious trucking job, and we talked about some of the benefits of having this job. And so now we're gonna go over the list of the things you need to do in order to obtain these high-end or prestigious trucking job. The number one thing you want to do, you want to make sure you have at least 2 years of solid trucking history or solid work history in the trucking company that you're at. If you don't have 2 years right now, you don't really have to worry about that. Here's what you want to do in that situation. As soon as you start trucking school or employer-sponsored or any other type of training, you want to start applying for these high-end trucking jobs. I got a list of jobs at truckingreality.org. You can go there. If you don't have the 2 years trucking experience right now, what's going to happen is when you submit your application, it's going to get denied. Don't worry about this. What we're going to do right now, we're going to lay a foundation to kind of get them to take notice of you, so when you do get your 2 years experience, they'll already be familiar with you and your efforts to get on with the company. So this is something that you should expect. What you want to do in this case, you want to keep reapplying every 6 months up until the 2 year mark. Before you know it, hey, the 2 years will go by and you'll be at the job that only other drivers dream about. Stay at your current job, whether it's good or bad. Right now, all you want is the experience. I know it's hard to think about, but the money part of your journey is not right now. I really want to get the experience under your belt. The job you get later on is going to more than make up for the misery that you're going through right now at your present trucking company. You also want to make sure your CSA score is fairly clean. Anything negative, you want to get it dealt with before you start applying for these jobs. Gather up all your reliable resources and cross-check them to make sure they're current. If you have a derogatory or bad credit, take this time to get it cleaned up. Even if you have the 2 years experience, if you have the bad credit, you want to invest your time and money into getting your credit clean. Or not, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be as close to perfect as possible. This is one of the big requirements for obtaining one of these jobs, and that being the high-end trucking job. You want to get a professional resume written up. Do not do this yourself. I don't know how many times guys have applied for these jobs and only to be done in because they did their own resume. So get a professional resume written up. Go to truckingreality.org to the link section and start looking through the many jobs. That'll be your next step. I have literally hundreds of jobs. Go to the site. There's going to be a tutorial on how to navigate the site to go look for the jobs. So you really want to check that out. The next thing you want to do, you want to select at least 10 jobs that you like. Select 10 jobs that you really want to do. Remember that even though you select 10 jobs, you know that at least one of them will end up being your career jobs. So what you want to do, you want to do your research very carefully and apply to all 10 jobs. And carefully fill out your application and take your time. Once you submit your application and resumes, try to get the name of the contact person at each of the companies that you apply to. This will help. This will also help with building familiarity between you and the company you're applying to. The next thing you want to do is you want to call back once every 2 weeks for the first 2 months. use the contact person's name, especially during this time. And so this will also build familiarity, and it will build rapport, because more than likely that person you're talking to, that's going to be the one that's going to recommend you being hired. So this is a step you really want to really pay attention to, this part of the step. After the 2 months of calling, every 2 weeks, you want to call once a month, and just let them know that you're checking on the status of your application. You want to be patient at this point, because it's going to take more than likely up to about 6 months, because they go through each application very, very carefully. And even after this, they're gonna probably ask you to resubmit your application and one more time after the 6 months. So you're about halfway there. So, and the reason why they want you to resubmit your application is because sometimes they want to make sure you didn't enter any false information on the application. Don't act too desperate for the job, and this could cause them to pass you up for consideration of the job itself. Also, don't believe the rumor that, the high-end trucking companies will hire you as long as you have a CDL and a good driving record. The shadier companies hire you in this manner because, they're only going to pay you, they're going to pay you what amounts to pennies per week. But the big boys, the big companies, the high-end prestigious companies, they pay very well, and they have pensions, they have stock ownership, they have benefits that are just, these are rock solid benefits. So don't believe that rumor that these companies will hire, these high-end trucking companies will hire you just based on the fact you have a CDL. Try to do as good while you're at your current job, try to do as good a job as you possibly can. And what you want to do, especially, you want to keep the upper management happy with your progress. Also, I want to reiterate, keep your CSA and your driving record as clean as possible, because I'm going to tell you right now, the company you apply to, they are keeping a close eye on your progress. They really are. Continue checking in with the contact person at the trucking company once a month. This will put your application at the top of the list once job openings become available. Don't worry about the starting salary at the high-end trucking companies. They can start as low as $30,000. Believe it or not, this is to weed out the guys who really don't want to be there. These guys, these trucking companies, they're looking for the best possible candidate for these jobs, but they are not going to spend that money up front. What you guys got to do, you got to be prepared for that first year to make, a fairly minimum salary. But after that first year, you'll automatically move up into the $45,000 to $55,000 range. And this is because you're going to have massive overtime, and you throw in the stock ownership also. That will help boost up your salary also. And I say at the 5 to 7 year mark, you should be in the $75,000 to $90,000 range, and in some cases up to $100,000. These very same steps I just showed you. Some of them vary slightly, but more than likely they're all they all find the same type of pattern to get these type of jobs. Once you finally get the job, it's up to you to stay put. These are not the kind of jobs that you're going to bounce around from job to job, because it takes so long to get on with these companies, these high-end trucking companies. So what you want to do when you get there, you want to just stay put, guys, because your salary, it can only go in one direction, and that's up. If you do the research and use the links found at truckingreality.org, you should be able to get some fairly decent progress. Or if you just need some friendly advice as to how to get started, send me a message at my email, and I'll show you the way to avoid the pitfalls and mistakes that many truck drivers face before the journey even gets started. Thank you, and please subscribe.